Imagine you're just walking down the street, right? Completely minding your own business. And out of nowhere, you get struck in the shoulder by an arrow.
Ouch. Yeah, that is not a good day.
No, it's agonizing, it's terrifying, and it's totally out of your control. But as you're lying there clutching your shoulder, you realize something, well, absolutely wild.
Which is that the first arrow was inevitable, right?
Exactly. But that second arrow, the one you are currently holding in your other hand, like getting ready to stab yourself with, that one is completely 100% optional.
It's such a jarring image, but it really perfectly captures this foundational Buddhist concept known as the two arrows. And that actually sets up our mission for this deep dive today.
Yeah, we've got some fascinating sources to get through today.
We do. And the sources we're unpacking today, specifically leaning on Joseph Nguyen's book, Don't Believe Everything You Think, propose this radical premise. The idea that psychological suffering is entirely optional.
Which sounds like a huge claim to make.
Right. But the first arrow represents the unavoidable pain of just, being a human being. You lose a job, a relationship ends, you get a flat tire on the way to a big meeting.
That strike is just a given. It happens to all of us.
Exactly. The second arrow, though, is our emotional reaction to that event. It's the lingering resentment, the crushing self-pity, the spiraling anxiety. We don't control the first arrow, but the suffering of the second arrow is something we are actively choosing to inflict on ourselves, even if we don't realize it.
Okay, let's unpack this, because I know exactly what you, the listener, are probably thinking right now. How can suffering possibly be a choice?
Right, it feels involuntary.
Yeah. I mean, if it were as easy as just dodging an arrow or like flipping off a switch in our brains, surely no one in their right mind would ever choose to suffer. We all hate feeling anxious. We despise feeling stressed and burned out.
Nobody wants that.
So what are we missing here? Why are we all walking around looking like human pincushions?
Well, we are missing the fundamental mechanism of how our brains actually process the world around us. To understand why that second arrow is optional, we first have to recognize a rather uncomfortable truth.
Which is?
We don't actually live in reality.
Wait, really?
Yeah, we live in a highly customized, individualized perception of reality that is constructed entirely inside our own minds. We think we're observing the world as it is, but we're actually observing a mental projection.
So we're essentially walking around in our own virtual reality headsets, completely unaware that we even put them on in the first place.
That is a brilliant way to picture, honestly. And that virtual reality headset is completely unique to every single individual. Let's look at a concrete example.
Sure.
Picture two people sitting in the exact same coffee shop. They are physically occupying the exact same space, smelling the same roasted espresso beans, and hearing the same ambient hum of conversation.
Same objective reality.
Yeah, right. But person A is trapped in a personal hell. They're having a massive quarter-life crisis, practically vibrating with anxiety about their career. You're looking at everyone else and assuming they are all wildly successful.
Oh, man. We've all had those days.
Meanwhile, person B, sitting just one table over, is sipping a latte, peacefully people-watching, and feeling this deep sense of contentment. The objective reality is identical. The sensory inputs are identical, but the perceptions are radically different.
You see this dynamic in the workplace all the time, too. I mean, two people can be working the exact same job, reporting to the exact same notoriously difficult manager.
Yes, the classic bad boss scenario.
Right. To one person, it's an exciting challenge, like a stepping stone. To the other person, it's a daily, soul-crushing nightmare.
What's fascinating here is that if the external event, the job itself or the manager, possessed the inherent magical power to cause human misery, then every single person who encountered that manager would be equally miserable.
But they aren't.
Exactly, they aren't. What dictates our experience isn't the external event. It is the internal meaning we instantly assign to it. There's a classic Zen story that perfectly isolates this mechanism.
Oh, I love these. Let's hear it.
So a young monk in a monastery is trying to meditate, but he keeps getting furiously angry at every little distraction. A bird chirps, he clenches his jaw.
I've been there. You just feel like the entire universe is conspiring to annoy you.
A fellow monk walks by, his blood pressure spikes. So he decides to completely escape the universe. He finds a small wooden boat, rows it out to the exact center of a vast, completely silent lake, drops the anchor, and closes his eyes.
Finally, some peace and quiet.
Right. He finally has his perfect, undisturbed peace. But a few hours later, he hears a sudden splash. He feels his boat violently rock. Another boat has drifted over and bumped right into his.
Oh, he's gonna lose it.
He does. He opens his eyes. His face is red with rage, ready to scream at whatever careless, thoughtless person just ruined his perfect meditation. But when he stands up to yell,
Wait, don't tell me.
he sees that the other boat is completely empty. It had simply slipped its moorings and drifted on the wind.
Oh, wow. That is a gut punch.
And in that exact fraction of a second, his raging anger simply evaporates. There's no one to yell at. There is no malice to fight against.
Because the enemy he was preparing to destroy wasn't actually real.
Precisely. The empty boat proves that external events, like a piece of wood bumping into another piece of wood, do not possess the power to make us angry without our active participation.
The anger was all him.
Yes. The monk realizes in a flash that his anger wasn't coming from the outside world. It was being generated entirely by his own internal reaction.
Huh?
All those people back at the monastery, they were just empty boats too.
I absolutely loved that concept. It completely changes how you look at a daily commute, you know? It's like getting furious at a massive traffic jam.
Such a good example.
Nope. The cars aren't doing anything to you. They're just metal boxes existing on asphalt. They are empty boats. It's our internal narrative about the traffic, the voice yelling, I'm going to be late, or this always happens to me, or people are terrible drivers, that actually creates the physiological response of misery.
Exactly. You're getting mad at the empty boats.
But that raises a massive question. If the external world isn't making us miserable, what exactly is?
Well, if the internal narrative is the culprit, we really need to look under the hood at how that narrative is constructed. And this brings us to what is undeniably the most crucial distinction in our entire deep dive today.
I'm ready. Lay it on me.
It's the profound, life-altering difference between a thought and the active process of thinking.
Hold on. A thought and thinking, aren't those just grammatical variations of the exact same concept?
They sound identical on the surface, yeah. But functionally, in terms of your brain's architecture, they're polar opposites. Let's do a quick experiment with you, the listener, right now.
Right, let's do it.
Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I want you to ask yourself a simple question. What is the absolute dream amount of money you would love to make in a single year? Don't analyze it. Just let the very first number pop into your head.
Okay, I got mine.
That number popping into your head effortlessly in a split second, out of the blue, that is a thought. It is a noun. It comes from a place of pure inspiration or infinite intelligence.
Yeah, it felt really easy.
Notice how it feels, right? It's expansive, it feels light, it has this naturally positive, exciting energy to it.
Yeah, having the number pop up was actually fun. It felt totally limitless.
Now let's change the parameters. Take that exact same dream number, multiply it by 5, and right now I want you to actively, rigorously figure out how you are going to guarantee you make that happen by this time next year.
Ooh. Okay, immediately my chest gets tight.
Right. What's your brain doing?
My brain is instantly saying, I don't have the skills for that. No one in my industry makes that much. I'd have to work 100 hours a week, and I've never seen my family. Who do I think I am? It got incredibly heavy very fast.
Notice that physical shift to your body, what you just experienced, transitioning from the pure number to the agonizing how that is thinking. Thinking is a verb.
It felt like manual labor, honestly.
Because it is. It is a laborious, heavy, manual process driven entirely by the ego. You took a pure, expansive thought, and your brain instantly accessed its database of past failures, societal conditioning, and deep-seated fears. You started to actively engage with the thought, judge it, criticize it, and demand a logical path forward.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's put this into modern technological terms.
Okay.
A thought is like getting a totally neutral push notification on your phone screen. It just appears silently.
I love this.
Thinking is when you actively click on it, open the app, scroll down, and dive headfirst into reading the toxic, argumentative comments section. The notification itself didn't hurt you. Your active choice to scroll did.
That is a phenomenal analogy that perfectly isolates the mechanism. The source material outlines a very clear divide here. Thoughts are inherently creative. Thinking is inherently destructive.
Wow, creative versus destructive.
Yeah. Thoughts present infinite possibilities. Thinking immediately confines and restricts. A thought is effortless and carries a naturally positive charge. Thinking, on the other hand, drains immense energy. It requires willpower and almost always carries a negative protective charge because it's rooted in survival mechanics.
So it's trying to keep us safe, but it just makes us miserable.
In short, yes. We suffer because we engage in the verb. We suffer because we actively think about our thoughts.
I struggle to buy into that entirely just because society essentially drills the exact opposite message into us from childhood. We're constantly. Our ability to intensely think through our problems is our ultimate superpower.
Oh, absolutely. The intellect is put on a pedestal.
And if we feel bad, the self-help industry tells us we just need to forcefully think positive. We're told to manually overwrite our bad thoughts with good affirmations. So if manual thinking is the enemy, how does trying to think positive fit into this?
Well, if you've ever felt utterly exhausted trying to manually force yourself to look on the bright side during a terrible day, this is exactly why.
It is exhausting, right?
The sources reveal why the forced positive thinking approach is actually a dangerous trap. If the active manual process of thinking is what causes our psychological friction, then trying to aggressively think positive is just dumping more fuel into an overheated engine.
Oh, I see, because it's still the verb.
Exactly. It's still manual labor. You do not have to manually manufacture positive thoughts to feel good.
That feels like a massive paradigm shift. But how can we feel good without positive thoughts?
Let's test it. I want you to recall your absolute happiest memory, a moment of absolute peak joy. Maybe it was falling in love, holding your newborn child for the first time, or standing on a mountain peak after a grueling hike.
Okay, I have one crystal clear in my mind right now.
In that precise peak moment of absolute overwhelming joy, what were you actively thinking about? What was the dialogue in your head?
Nothing. There was no dialogue.
Not at all.
No, my mind was completely blank. I wasn't narrating the experience. I was just completely immersed in it.
And that is the secret. Peace, joy, and love are not destinations you have to mentally think your way into. They are the factory default state of the human operating system.
The factory default. I like that.
Think about a baby that has all its physical needs met. Its default state isn't existential dread, right? Its default state is pure bliss, curiosity, and presence. The intensity of your negative emotion at any given moment is directly correlated to the RPMs on your mental thought-o-meter.
Like a tachometer in a car.
Exactly. When the RPMs are high, you are stressed, regardless of whether you're trying to think positively or negatively. When the RPMs drop to zero, you automatically return to your factory default, which is peace.
The text uses this incredible, vivid analogy of a bowl of dirty, murky water that really brought this home for me.
Oh, the dirt settling, yes.
Yeah. If you have a bowl of muddy water, you don't make it clear by frantically shaking it or running it through a complex coffee filter or boiling it. All of that activity, even if it's well-intentioned, just keeps the dirt violently suspended in the water.
The effort actually ruins the clarity.
Right. You make the water clear by doing the one thing the ego hates. Literally leaving it alone and letting gravity pull the dirt to the bottom.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this shifts the entire foundation of modern mental health and self-improvement.
How so?
For decades, we've been sold the narrative that we have to fix ourselves, that our brains are broken, and we need to relentlessly journal, analyze, and forcefully rewire our neural pathways to achieve happiness.
Yeah, self-improvement can feel like a full-time job.
But this material suggests a profound relief. You don't have to fix yourself because you were never broken in the first place. The clarity is already there. You just have to let the dirt settle.
Okay, I can hear the high-achieving listeners practically yelling at their devices right now.
Fair enough. It's a scary concept for a lot of people.
Doing nothing mentally sounds absolutely terrifying to anyone who relies on their intellect to survive. If I'm incredibly stressed out at work, my inbox is overflowing, deadlines are piling up, and the company is restructuring, the solution isn't to aggressively problem solve.
No.
I shouldn't write a detailed 5-page pros and cons list. I'm supposed to just recognize that I'm caught in the verb of thinking and literally do nothing. I feel like I just melt into the couch and lose my entire competitive edge.
That fear of losing our edge is exactly what keeps us trapped. But we have to distinguish between mental action and physical action.
Okay, what's the difference?
Physically, you still send the emails, you still do the work, but mentally, you stop the frantic, agonizing rumination. This leads us to the productivity paradox. The absolute highest levels of human performance actually happen entirely without active thinking.
Okay, you're gonna have to walk me through the mechanics of that, because that sounds backwards.
Let's look at Olympic athletes or master martial artists. When an elite gymnast is performing a routine, executing a blind triple backflip onto a 4-inch wooden beam...
Which is insane, by the way.
Totally. But she is absolutely not thinking about the placement of her left foot. The conscious processing speed of the brain is just too slow. If she starts thinking, the mechanism bottlenecks and she falls.
Oh, right. They call it the yips in sports.
Exactly. In Japanese culture, there is a profound concept called mushin, which translates to no mind. It is the ultimate flow state. Through rigorous practice, the physical skills are downloaded into muscle memory, allowing the practitioner to react purely on instinct, completely free from the ego and the paralyzing friction of conscious thought.
So what does this all mean for us mere mortals who aren't doing backflips?
Well, it means our absolute peak performance requires the conscious mind to get out of its own way.
But if we aren't actively thinking and planning, what happens to our ambition? Like, why would we ever strive to achieve anything?
The sources draw a brilliant, necessary distinction here between two fundamentally different types of goals. When we are caught up in the heavy friction of thinking, we construct goals of desperation. These are rooted entirely in scarcity and fear.
They're driven by anxiety.
Yeah, they feel heavy. They act merely as a means to an escape.
Like someone saying, I need to grind and make $2 million so I can finally quit this soul-sucking corporate job and then I'll allow myself to be happy.
Precisely. The ambition is driven by a desperate need to escape a current reality. You are running away from something. But when you are in a state of non-thinking, when the water has settled and you are connected to that expansive default state, you naturally generate goals of inspiration.
Which feel totally different, I imagine.
Oh, completely. They are light, they are expansive. You pursue them simply because you feel deeply called to create them. The joy is in the process itself. They are an end in themselves, not a means to an end.
Let me give you an analogy to cement this. It's the difference between running a marathon because you think a hungry grizzly bear is chasing you. That's a goal of desperation.
You'll run fast, for sure.
Will you run incredibly fast? Yes. But your nervous system will be absolutely terrified, flooded with cortisol the entire time. Compare that to running a marathon simply because you love the feeling of the wind on your face and the thrill of pushing your body's physical limits.
That is a goal of inspiration.
Right. Both motivations will get you across the finish line, but only one leaves you fulfilled, healthy, and joyous at the end.
This raises an important question for you listening right now to deeply consider. What is the true fuel source of your current ambitions? Are you grinding every single day to prove your worth to your parents, to outshine your peers, or to outrun a quiet feeling of not being enough?
Those are heavy questions.
Or are you simply expressing your natural talents and creating from a place of abundance?
I love that distinction. But let's bring this down from the theoretical to the intensely practical. Let's talk about the corporate reality.
Let's do it.
If we are operating purely from inspiration, and we are actively trying not to manually think through every meticulous step of our lives, how do we actually navigate massive daily decisions? Like, how do I know whether to take the promotion or move my family across the country or pivot my entire business model?
The premise suggests that when we stop stirring the dirty water and clear the static of overthinking, we finally grant ourselves access to our intuition. Intuition acts as an internal GPS system.
I think we all recognize that gut feeling, but how does the GPS actually work in practice?
Well, the beauty of a GPS is its simplicity. You only need to plug in the final destination, the what. You do not need to know the how. You don't need to memorize every single left and right turn before you put the car in drive.
You just follow the next step.
You just start driving. And if you hit a roadblock or you miss a turn, the GPS doesn't panic. It doesn't criticize you. It simply, neutrally recalculates the route from your current position.
But our rational ego hates this.
Oh, it despises it. The ego demands to know every single turn, every potential pothole before it even pulls out of the driveway.
And when it inevitably can't predict the future, it spirals. It starts doom-scrolling all the catastrophic possibilities.
Which is why, to hear the quiet voice of the GPS, you have to ruthlessly quiet the noise of the ego. There is another powerful Zen story about a highly educated scholar who visits a master to learn the secrets of Zen.
Okay, another story. Let's hear it.
But the scholar just keeps talking. He relentlessly lists all his rigid opinions, his complex theories, his vast academic knowledge.
Typical academic.
Right. The master calmly suggests they have tea. He places a cup in front of the scholar and starts pouring. The cup fills to the brim, but the master just keeps pouring. The hot tea spills over the edges, floods the table, and drips onto the floor. The scholar jumps back and yells, "Stop! The cup is completely full. No more will go in."
The scholar's brain was too full of the verb.
Exactly. The master smiles and says, "You are exactly like this cup. You are so full of your own ideas and your own relentless thinking that nothing new can possibly fit inside. Come back to me when your cup is empty."
That is so profound.
If your mind is entirely occupied by your own frantic thinking, there is literally no physical or mental space for a new idea, a fresh perspective, or what the sources call a divine download to enter. You have to create nothingness to allow the new to arrive.
That perfectly explains the anecdotes in the text about history's greatest innovators.
Yes, like Thomas Edison.
Exactly. Thomas Edison had this famous habit where he would sit in a comfortable armchair holding heavy steel balls in his hands. He would let himself drift off, and the moment his conscious thinking mind finally shut down to sleep, his hands would naturally relax.
And drop the balls.
Right. The steel balls would crash to the floor, startling him awake right at the exact moment a profound insight. The answer to a problem he'd been agonizing over for weeks had popped into his newly emptied mind.
It's brilliant. And Albert Einstein utilized the exact same mechanism.
Really? How so?
Well, when he hit a brutal wall on a complex mathematical physics problem, he wouldn't just sit at his desk and aggressively force himself to think harder. He recognized that the thinking was the block.
So what did he do?
He would completely walk away, pick up his violin, and just play music. He stepped into the unknown, created mental space, and allowed the subconscious to deliver the answer.
That's amazing.
Yet we live in a modern culture that universally honors the rational, grinding, exhausting mind, and we completely dismiss this intuitive gift as unscientific or like woo-woo.
But I have to raise a final, very grounded pushback here on behalf of all of us living in the real corporate world.
Go for it.
Trusting the internal GPS and waiting for violin-induced divine downloads sounds incredibly poetic. But society, and specifically the economy, demands the how. We live in a culture of step-by-step business plans, brutal quarterly reviews, and rigid 5-year roadmaps.
It's true. The pressure is real.
How on earth do you practically trust the inner GPS and embrace not thinking when your boss, your investors, or your spouse are sitting across the table demanding you show them a printed, bulletproof map of the future?
That is the ultimate tension of modern life, and navigating it is the true test of this philosophy. The text readily acknowledges that this societal pressure is exactly why so many people abandon their intuition and fall right back into the suffering of overthinking.
Because it feels safer to have a plan.
Exactly. We demand the how because the unknown feels deeply biologically unsafe. But we have to recognize a logical absolute here. The unknown is literally the only place where infinite possibilities can exist.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
If you rely solely on your past data, your historical metrics, and your rational mind to plan the next 5 years, you can only ever recreate slightly modified variations of what you have already experienced. To create something entirely unprecedented, to invite a true breakthrough, you have to be willing to step into the uncomfortable space where you don't know the answer yet.
So practically speaking, in that board meeting, it's about realizing you don't need a map of the entire cross-country journey to start the car. You just need the headlights to show you the next 200 feet.
That's the core of it. You show up, you handle the immediate task in front of you with absolute presence, but you detach from the agonizing need to control step 50.
Just focus on step 1.
Right. And as you take that first step into the headlights, the next 200 feet are naturally revealed. You navigate the corporate demands by executing the present moment flawlessly, without the internal narrative of anxiety. That is how you operate in the real world while still creating the vital space for miracles to occur.
This has been an absolutely mind-bending journey today. Let's recap the core mechanisms we've unpacked for everyone.
Sounds good.
The profound message here is that your psychological suffering is not a mandatory condition of life. It is a choice. The root cause of your stress, your anxiety, and your burnout isn't your demanding job, your finances, or the traffic jam. It is the manual, laborious, ego-driven act of thinking about your thoughts.
It's a second arrow.
Right, the second arrow. Your natural, factory default state is one of peace, joy, and profound clarity. You do not have to forcefully filter your mind or aggressively think positive. You simply have to step back, stop stirring, and let the dirty water settle on its own.
Just let gravity do the work.
You don't need to figure out the how of your entire life today. You just need to create the empty space for the answers to safely arrive.
It's a fundamental shift from trying to forcefully control reality to allowing your natural intelligence to effortlessly guide you.
And I want to leave you, our listener, with a final provocative thought to mull over as you navigate the rest of your week. The next time you feel a sudden, familiar wave of anxiety, stress, or anger wash over you, don't immediately try to solve the external problem that you think is upsetting you.
Don't waste your energy yelling at the empty boat.
Exactly. Don't yell at the empty boat. Instead, turn inward and ask yourself this. Can I catch the exact moment my brain transitioned from a harmless, neutral thought into the aggressive, heavy act of thinking? Can I spot the exact split second I decided to click that mental notification and start doom scrolling the toxic comments in my own head? Because the beautiful truth is, the very moment you spot yourself doing it, the water has already begun to